Hello everyone, this is Jerry from Execute Fitness, and today we're going to talk about the paleo diet. And this is a topic that is very popular nowadays. And again, it's part of the new modern diet, as you can find as well: carb cycling, carb backloading, intermittent fasting, and so on. So today we're going to underline the principle of a paleo diet and see exactly how does it work and when to do it and why. On top you see the pyramids, which is the reverse pyramids, and we find ourselves having now vegetable and greens on the bottom. Then we have the protein, then we find our fruits and carbohydrates on top, and on the very top we have obviously fat. While in the past, for most of the ages here that was part of making America obese, we had the carbohydrates and grains on the bottom, then we had fruit, and then we had the protein and fat on top. And obviously, especially when we talk about lean protein, people understood the importance of it. Is there really a right way, considering, obviously the modified DNA, environmental change factor, heritage? Is there a right way to have a Paleolithic diet as our ancestors used to, to eat? Is that something that is sustainable? It's something that we can do. And obviously the idea now, as we found that everybody's kind of following either paleo, vegetarian, intermittent fasting, or anything of that nature that you can find on the media and something like that, we really must consider a few things in order to make a diet successful or not, because results might come from vegetarian, from vegan, from paleo, but at the end of the day, it's not really the diet is making you effective, it's the fact that this kind of diet is getting you to have a better calorie intake, better nutrient split, and all these things. How do a diet really work? Obviously, we want to take in consideration the quantity of food, energy balance, obviously energy expenditure, and food we're getting in, macronutrient balance, mineral and water balance, frequency and timing of the nutrient, and the supplements as well. We should really always assess based on the feedbacks we're having, how does a client feel, look, and perform. If all these things are responding well, then these three factors are met, so we can consider the paleo diet to be sustainable as any other diet. So what is exactly the paleo diet? It's based on the idea that we used to eat, or we are eating, as the Paleolithic, on hunter-gatherers and people that lived on that particular age. So it's also called in other names, so it could be ancestor diet, any Paleolithic diets, or any of those names. Basically, it consists on having like real whole food, either usually on a one ingredient food or a primary, either fruit, vegetable, meat, fish, eggs, nuts, and seed. We have to really ask ourselves whether or not this diet can be sustainable and successful, because obviously it was very different to eat as ancestors used to eat compared to how we make the paleo diet today, that we can find stuff like bread that includes more than one ingredient food. We can find a bunch of other product that is promoted as paleo, so sort of paleo pancakes, which is really not coming from only the ingredient you should find on a regular pancake, but obviously it's not paleo either. Why is paleo good? Obviously there is a couple of reasons about it, and we adapted only to eat some kind of food. Also, it should get us to stay healthy, strong, and avoid the idea of, as ancestors used to, avoid the inflammation of the body. So now the idea is, obviously, again, paleo back then and paleo in the 21st century, the food is slightly different. Obviously, it's a lot different, and reason being is basically 60% in US alone, 60% modified. So this is one of the big problems that we're having to encounter on the fact that, you know, paleo back then, the real Paleolithic diet, and paleo right now, obviously it's not the same thing. As far as being able to understand it better, so what is allowed and what is not allowed, poultry, fish, red meats, eggs, fruit, vegetable, nuts, and seeds are allowed, including tomato, potatoes, and eggplants. And prohibited are more like grains, legumes, fish milk, added sugar, omega-6, or any trans or hydrogenated fat, vegetables such as tomato, potatoes, or eggplants. Again, this is kind of controversial because some people say that potatoes are good and some other no. Obviously, you want to stay away from added salt, coffee, and alcohol as well. Again, paleo diet is, you know, as far as research goes and what they say about it, it's been discreetly saying that it's giving some moderate good results. So, I mean, it's something that is sustainable if you're able to integrate it on your daily diets. What's the main problem about it? That again, the food that we found today is not directly proportional to what we had in the past. And some studies show also that our ancestors used to eat a lot of grass and grains, which is prohibited. And again, this is on the fact that grains back then, and there was a different biological composition and biological availability that did not raise blood sugar and insulin as we have now. Same thing with the legumes. They did consume legumes, and sometimes they did consume a bunch of others, vegetables and berries and all these things. Again, mainly the problem is that even when we talk about chickens and proteins nowadays, obviously a chicken is supposed to be eating grass, and the problem, or corn, and the problem that nowadays, even when it's organic, the fact that the chicken are not eating anymore those kind of things like corn and grass, and is eating something else that at time is modified, and when it's organic, that particular thing that they're eating, which exactly is a chemical processed kind of food, even though it's not being modified and so is organic, is not what is supposed to be given to the chicken to eat. So we find ourselves having bigger chicken. It seems like it's healthier as well. In reality, it's really like saying that we only should consume a particular type of food, as the instead of like chicken that they used to eat corn or grass, now they're consuming something totally different. So it's like telling us you're just gonna feed us a gasoline, for example, and it's, you know, like even though it's not modified, it's still gasoline, and totally the most protein gets fat the wrong things basically. Anti-nutrient, an argument exists that anti-nutrient in many non-paleo food means that they should be avoided. Research suggests that the benefit of legumes far outweighs the anti-nutrients contents. So again, phytic acid and can be toxic if we eat too much of it. In more reasonable amount, it can offer benefit. Again, this is basically saying that we should really understand that some stuff we can eat on small amount and some stuff we shouldn't be eating at all. The argument exists that paleo diet should give us less inflammation and get the pH on the right balance. And again, this is supposed to be considered not based on just for the fact that we need more fruit and vegetables that would make our diet more alkaline and thus get our inflammation level lower. But again, before saying all that, it would be maybe interesting and useful to make a real body composition bioelectrical impedance body composition test that tells us the pH level that we have to really see if we do have any imbalance and we do need to get the diet more alkaline. Otherwise, it's basically, again, it's useless. With Paleo 4, here we're gonna analyze some benefit about it. And obviously, if you can eat a good quantity of meat, and if you have no problem eating protein, it's okay. If also you should be familiar with the fact that you cannot eat carbohydrates, otherwise it would be too restrictive. So it's something that we need to obviously be okay with, and not right away cut all the ingredients out, but I would definitely do it moderately and progressively. With Paleo Diet 4, again, have you tried to live just on meat and vegetable alone? If it's something that you have tried in the past, it's something that you can do. Otherwise, it would be way too many items that you're excluding, and generally people stay on that diet from 1 to 4 weeks, and then it becomes unsustainable. Or they get all this product that says paleo on top, but in reality it's a bunch of multi-processed food that has more than one ingredient. It's not really considered paleo. So either we trick each other, or the real paleo diet is very hard to sustain more than a month if you're not used to it. So again, we should apply to how do we should not be considered as quick fix protocol, but we should apply it to the diet that you already have, and you should include and exclude them as much as possible, and based on your goals. So if you wanna obviously get skinnier, or get shredded a little bit more, you can exclude some carbohydrates, see how it goes, see whatever results it gives you on the mirror, and again see if it's something for you. As well, if you feel like you're eating too many carbs, or if you feel like you need some extra vegetable and fruit in order to get yourself more alkaline or better pH, you can also try to implement this diet. So some benefit of this diet is more satiating for calories than a Mediterranean diet. Obviously, we're having a lot more vegetable and fruit and water and fiber in there, so that's the reason. Improves blood pressure, glucose tolerance, and blood lipids transportation. It's also obviously effective on diabetic and to get the symptoms better. So obviously, the low glycemic index that we're having with the fruit and vegetable would help on getting the symptom of diabetes away as well. Compared to any other typical Western approach, the paleo diet is giving pretty good results, and so good that a lot of not only delivery but also a lot of products is became more commercial nowadays. So people are getting mixed in with every other things as well. It shouldn't be used on a one-size-fits-all approach, and the research looks promising for what we offer here. If you have any question, if you want to see anything else about the paleo diet, or if you want to see something more practical as a menu or recipes, you can inbox me, or you can ask me more questions about it, answering either by email or liking our Facebook page. Wish you the best.